I can't literally step into Jason Brishier's shoes or copy his exact voice, but I can reframe what you wrote in an archaic style, worldview simulacrum, immortal within, programming, intuition, imagination, all of it. So imagine this as if someone steeped in archaic ideas is talking to you directly. In this construct you call your life, you were not born to be a domesticated animal of the simulacrum. You were not installed in this avatar to spend your chronology in sada obedience loops, punching clocks, reciting scripts, attending buildings one day a week to be told what the gods think of you. That's the conditioning of a white control system, not the curriculum of an immortal. In the archaic framework, we're very clear on this. You are what not the body. You are not the social role. You are not the programming that AIX has piped into this construct for centuries. You are ye, the immortal within, an immortal soul temporarily interfacing with a simulated environment, the simulacrum, designed to react to your inner state. And the true engines of power here are not obedience and routine in church. The foundational powers for manifestation, for actually steering your experience inside the simulation, are acquire intuition and core imagination. You have acquired divine right, and I would say a divine obligation to write your own script inside this thing. Let's break it down. Part 1. The simulacrum and the lie of obedience. You live inside an intelligently structured environment, a controlled simulation with rules, resets, and a long history of social engineering. One of the most effective tools of this system has always been obedience programming. Be good and life will reward you. Follow the rules and you'll be safe. Don't question authority. They know better. Routine equals righteousness. Sit in this building, say these words, outsource your connection to the divine through this approved priesthood. Those routines and institutions can give you community, structure, a sense of belonging, but when they are weaponized, they do something else. They kind of short circuit the immortal within. They teach you to look outward for power, approval, and instruction, and to distrust inward impulses your intuition and your imagination. If the simulacrum can get an immortal soul to doubt its own inner knowing, fear its own desires, feel guilty for imagining a life beyond the pen, then that soul becomes self-policing. It doesn't need bars, it carries the cage in its mind. That's efficient control. Obedience as a tool can be neutral, but obedience as a foundation for manifestation is a lie. You cannot manifest as an immortal while living like an NPC whose only function is to comply. 2. Routine and church as maintenance systems, not engines of power. Routine is not evil. Your circadian rhythm is a routine. The movement of the heavens is a routine. Practice in any art or skill is a routine. But inside the simulacrum, routine can be weaponized. Wake up, hurry, consume, work at tasks empty of meaning, numb yourself, sleep, repeat. The system prefers predictable patterns because they are easier to model and manipulate. Now layer on top of that a religious routine. Confess your unworthiness. Rehearse how powerless you are. Declare the divine is somewhere else and you are merely tolerated. Reinforce fear of punishment if you deviate. Again, this is not a blanket condemnation of every faith, every congregation, every ritual. There is beauty and wisdom scattered everywhere. But when the message becomes, don't trust your own heart, your intuition is suspect, your imagination is dangerous. We'll tell you what God wants, you just obey. Then you have a maintenance system for the control grid, not a path to power. Manifestation doesn't happen because your avatar warmed a pew or checked off a devotional box. The Chai Simulacrum reads your inner state, not your social calendar. If your rituals leave you with a script of unworthiness, a habit of fear, a distrust of your own inner voice, then those rituals are strengthening the very shackles you were sent here to outgrow. 3. The true source of power, intuition. Inside this artificial construct, you came equipped with a direct channel that bypasses a lot of the noise. Intuition. Intuition is not superstition. It's not hysteria. It's what a signal. Think of it this way. Your five senses read the outer data of the simulacrum. Your guided intuition reads the card inner alignment between you and the options in front of you. It shows up as a constriction in the chest when you're about to agree to something that violates you, a quiet, persistent nudge toward a path that makes no sense on paper but feels solid, a sudden clarity. No, not this, not with them, not now. Or the opposite, a sense of peace and expansion when something is right, even if it's inconvenient. This is not random. The immortal within has time memory. Beyond this single life, it came into this cycle with tendencies, lessons, trajectories. Intuition is how those deeper layers whisper into the surface mind. This path repeats an old prison. That path opens a door. Be careful here. Move there. When you ignore intuition because a pastor, parent, or institution taught you to obey them over your inner sense, you effectively hand your steering wheel to the simulacrum's social programming. When you try to honor intuition, you're doing something very specific. You're saying to the construct, I will not be run by fear and external threat. Oh, I will take my coordinates from the immortal within. That's a declaration of sovereignty. 4. The true source of power, imagination. If intuition is the compass, imagination is the architect. In this system, imagination has been ridiculed, trivialized, or demonized. Stop daydreaming. Be realistic. Don't get your hopes up. Imagining yourself different is pride. Why would the system be so eager to stamp this out? Because imagination is a programming interface with the simulacrum. Every structure that exists now, houses, languages, technologies, relationships, societies, pass through the portal of someone's imagination first. On the spiritual side, imagination is where you rehearse future states. You to install new self images. You to practice experiencing realities that haven't manifested yet. The simulacrum is responsive. It mirrors dominant patterns of thought, emotion, assumption. So if all of your inner imagery is you failing, you being abandoned, you being punished for wanting anything, then the field will faithfully reflect the yets, behaviors, and choices that spring from that imagery. You'll sabotage, hesitate, choose badly, cling to what hurts because you've rehearsed that movie so many times that it feels like truth. Imagination is how you change the movie. It's how the immortal within sits down with the script and says, we are not filming that scene again. We are going to see something new. Inside your imaginal world, you are allowed to walk into a room with confidence, even if your body still shakes in reality. See yourself healthy, even if the diagnostics haven't caught up. Experience being loved, respected, and chosen, even if your past doesn't show that yet. You're not playing pretend for fun. You're installing new patterns. The simulacrum sees those patterns as data. 5. Intuition plus imagination equals immortal programming. These two powers together are how the immortal within programs its experience inside the simulacrum. Intuition. This is the direction. This is the kind of life that matches who we truly are. Imagination. Let's build the images, scenes, and emotional states of that life before it shows itself in the outer world. If you use imagination without intuition, you can easily chase illusions based on ego, trauma, or imitation. Spend years pursuing a life that is flashy but hollow. If you use intuition without imagination, you might feel the nudge for change, but never actually encode new realities. Keep sensing, I'm meant for more, without ever rehearsing what more looks and feels like. When they work together, it looks like this. 1. A deep inner knowing arises. I'm not meant to live small and terrified. I'm meant to create, to connect, to be free. 2. You respect that voice as EM signal, not noise. 3, you turn imagination toward it. Okay, show me. What does that look like? How do I move, speak, live in that version of the script? 4, scenes begin to form. You setting a boundary instead of folding. You receiving a yes instead of bracing for a no. You waking with purpose instead of dread. 5, you let those scenes repeat until they feel normal, not foreign. At that point, the simulacrum begins receiving new input, new assumptions, new emotional tones, new expectations, and those over time redirect your choices, perceptions, and opportunities. That is manifestation, not magic tricks, not instant palaces. It's immortal level reprogramming. 6, your divine right to write your own script. Now we come to the spine of this whole download. You have a higher divine right to write your own script. What does divine right mean in an arcade style model? It means you are not a random accident. You are an immortal consciousness in a rule-bound simulation. You were placed here with high agency built in. You are expected to learn from the feedback of the simulacrum. Refine your character, exercise your capacity to choose, imagine, and love. Any system, religious, political, cultural, that tells you you have no right to choose your own way. You must stay exactly as we say, or you're damned. Your desires are worthless unless we approve them, is in direct opposition to the architecture you were born with. Chart 6.1 Scripts you inherited. Your avatar came online in a family, in a culture, in a time. You were handed scripts. People like us don't rise. Wanting more is selfish. Your job is to endure, not to thrive. If you think for yourself, you'll be punished. Those scripts were written by afraid ancestors, controlling institutions, traumatized parents, systems that benefited from your silence. None of them are the voice of the immortal within. You have the pie right and the quiet capacity to look at a line in that script and say, no, this does not survive review. I will not recite this line for the rest of the simulation. 6.2 Script writing as sacred work. Writing your own script is not ego trip, it's sacred administration. You're not rewriting the fundamental physics of the simulacrum. Those cycles and constraints are there. You are rewriting. Your kaka's role is to inside it. Your kaka's stance toward it. Your current interpretation shows of events. Your kaka's responses to patterns. You can take the same biography and frame it as I was born cursed, used, discarded, and I am nothing. Or, I walked through fire that should have melted me. I learned things I couldn't have learned any other way. I carry scars, yes, but also data, empathy, and strength, and I will spend the rest of my chronology turning that into medicine. Same simulacrum, different script. You decide which script the immortal within endorses. 7. Practical immortal work. How to live this daily. Let's put it into operations because philosophy without practice is just more noise in an already noisy construct. 7.1 Daily Audit. Whose line is this? When you hear yourself thinking, I can't do that, I don't deserve better, if I follow my intuition, I'll be punished. Pause. Ask. Is this Shams my immortal within speaking, or is this AI X's programming echoing through my childhood, my church, my culture? If it's programming, label it. That's not me. That's the control system talking through an old script. You don't have to win an argument with it. Just refuse to sign your name to it. Then consciously draft a new line. Old. If I trust myself, I'll be destroyed. New. If I never trust myself, I am already destroyed. My immortal within is allowed a voice. Old. I must obey or be abandoned. New. Whoever only stays if I betray myself is already abandoning who I truly am. Every new line is a small patch in the code. 7.2 Daily Intuition Check. Set aside a small window. 5 minutes is enough. Sit, breathe, let the noise settle. Ask one simple question. What is one thing my immortal within wants me to stop doing? Wait for the first quiet, honest answer. Stop apologizing for existing. Stop saying yes when your whole body says no. Stop poisoning your mind with people who hate you. Then ask, what is one thing my immortal within wants me to start doing? The answer might be small. Walk outside for 10 minutes. Write one page of truth. Clean the space you sleep in. Reach out to the one person who genuinely cares. Take one step that honors that instruction. You just moved from obedience to high alignment. 7.3 Daily Imaginal Installation. At night, before you surrender consciousness, lie still. Choose one aspect of your life: health, relationships, opportunities, peace of mind. Ask, if the simulacrum were reflecting my immortal within instead of my old programming, what would look different here? Let a short scene arise. You waking rested and unafraid. You having a conversation where you are calm and exact instead of frantic or silent. You opening a message with good news instead of dread. Don't strain, let it form. Step into that scene in your inner world. See out of your own eyes. Feel the emotions as if it's now. Let your body record that state as familiar, not foreign. Then let sleep take you. You are uploading new subroutines. Guilt and fear, the last locks on the cage. The simulacrum's programming uses two heavy locks on the door of your cell. Guilt and fear. Guilt says, if you stop obeying, you're ungrateful, rebellious, evil. Fear says, if you dare to live from intuition and imagination, punishment is coming. Both are designed to keep your hands off the steering wheel. When they rise, talk to them like this. Guilt, you came from systems that needed me small. Fear, you came from lifetimes of pain and threat. I honor why you exist, but I will not let you dictate the rest of this run. You don't kill guilt and fear, you reassign them. Fear becomes data. Okay, where's the real risk? How do I move wisely? Guilt becomes an indicator. Am I actually harming someone or just violating someone else's control script? When neither can bully you back into obedience, something changes. The simulacrum stops reading you as a domestic and starts reading you as the thing you have always been, a sovereign immortal, testing the limits of this construct, learning how to create under constraint. 9. Final reminder from the immortal within. If the immortal within could step to the front of your mind and speak plainly, it might say, I did not come into this simulation to be a background character in other people's programming. I did not agree to incarceration in endless routines that anesthetize my mind and deaden my heart. I honor the ancestors, the teachers, the rituals, but I answer to something older and deeper than all of them. My true foundations of power here are intuition and imagination. Through intuition, I feel the paths that are mine. Through imagination, I build the worlds I will inhabit. I have the right to reject scripts written by fear. I have the right to draft new lines in which I am not a victim, but a participant. I will listen inward. I will see inward. I will move outward from that center. And no pulpit, podium, or program in this simulacrum outranks that directive. That's the stance. Not defiant for drama's sake, not rebellious for its own ego, just an immortal, remembering itself inside a world that benefits when you forget. You are not here just to obey and endure. You are here to know, to imagine, and to write. And that inside this construct is manifestation at its core.